Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
If we'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
We're close enough to do it.
My dog.
Good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday, November 13th, 2013 Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioner Williams has the dog.
Well, we have an energetic one here today. We have a boxer mix male, about a year old. It's going to be available for adoption. Available right now. So if you're looking for a good dog to take for a walk or someone to protect your house, this would be the boy to come and do it. If you need something smaller or maybe a little bit more fluffy, come down to our kennel. We have a lot of dogs available and looking for a home for the holiday season.
Madam Clerk.
The judge is not going to be coming over today.
Okay.
Under resolutions number 1, Job and Family Services bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
There's nothing from this side. I did speak with Mr. Cordez today.
Yep.
He'll probably be in later today for an hour or two and maybe tomorrow and start working himself back in. So
Right.
he's doing very well.
You have the personnel summary sheet.
I do have the personnel summary sheet. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of November 6th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
And we're not going to do number
Poll
11.
11, don't need it.
Number 12, under domestic relations, approve the request of $10,082 from the Juvenile Accountability Block Grant for the continuation of the Success for Youth program to provide intensive court supervision and case management to court-involved low-functioning youth, and partial funding will be for manager position, which is a collaborative effort with Catholic Charities. This is a cash match required from the county general fund in the amount of $1,200.
So moved. I like discussion.
Second.
Discussion.
Jody, can we bring you up here? Or whoever's in charge over there?
Uh-oh. Got a boo-boo.
Yeah, just lingering injuries.
We
I'll-
approved the cash match last week or 2 weeks ago in regards to doing some work out at detention home.
Correct.
We did get our revenues numbers yesterday Budget Commission met and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at a couple of $1 million minimum shortfall for next year. Do you have this anywhere within your budget?
This 1,200, well, I did take a look at, as you know, we also have a bit of a shortfall in our budget. The total cost of the program itself is $69,812, and so we actually do fund all the rest of the program except for this $1,200 with grants. The $10,000 is one of the grants, and then we have a few other grants that pick up.
So there are
the whole
multiples.
Yeah, there's multiple grants that fund this program, all but the $1,200. I do know the $1,200 is, last year I think it was $1,500 that you matched, so it's coming down as the grant's coming down. But, you know, as you know, we're going to be seeking more money from general fund as it is to make up for the other shortfalls that we've had.
And that's what I told you I'll be giving you a call about tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll discuss those issues because we got to look at.
Right.
Actually, with the revenue numbers, with the judicial increases is about where we would end up par with no increases for next year in our general fund budget. So it's a major concern for us and how we're going to move forward and what cuts we're going to have to make. So, all right, that's fine. Go ahead and call for it. It's $1,200.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Thank you.
Under the engineer, award contract to Eclipse Co, LLC, Chagrin Falls, in the amount of $370,454.40 for the Chamberlain Road Bridge 0210 replacement, Grafton Township. 3 bids were received on October 24th, this being the most responsive. Issue notice to proceed and work completed by June 15, 2014, and they will use Engineering Concrete Structures Corp., Precision Paving, Inc., Traftech, Inc., and Lake Erie Construction Company as subcontractors. This will be paid 95% Federal Highway Administration through CEAO. Remaining 5% will be paid through Engineering Project Bridge account. Engineer's estimate was $375,498.40.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Approve and enter in a facility encroachment agreement with CSX Transportation, Inc. for proposed roadway reconstruction, Griswold Road at CSX Transportation, Inc., milepost BJ 156.18, Elyria Township. Authorized payment of $1,500 to CSX to perform storm, sewer, and sanitary sewer construction to be paid from the MVGT Engineering Projects account. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the Board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Ennis?
Commissioners, unfortunately, I do have one matter of pending litigation and one matter of imminent litigation that I need to discuss with you in executive session. Should be very brief, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Commissioners report.
I would like to call your attention to Board Correspondence number 6. It says League of Women Voters of Oberlin area thanked Commissioner Kokoski for speaking about issues. I wanted to read the actual letter. I'm going to toot his horn for him because I know he would never do it, but it's a really nice letter. I just want to read it for you. It says, Dear Commissioner Kalo, thank you for speaking at our issues night last Tuesday. I thought the evening went very well, and you did much to further the voters' understanding of your issue. The county was wise to ask you to speak on behalf of the proposed tax. Although you probably had the toughest issue of the evening, you did a great job keeping the conversation genuine while explaining why the tax is necessary. There are not too many people who, in this economy, can walk into a room, ask a group of people for money, and then leave with the group liking him even more than when he entered. I appreciate all your work, and I'm hoping for the best outcome on Tuesday. Perhaps after Election Day, you'll be making it home for dinner at a decent hour. So just wanted to congratulate Ted. He does a fabulous job when he's talking about what's going on in the county and our needs, and unfortunately, we all know that it did not pass. But
And we'll be in Oberlin tonight. And we'll be in Oberlin
yeah,
tonight.
we'll be in Oberlin tonight, that's right. Last week, actually, Tom and I attended a town hall meeting in Sheffield Village. The mayor, the heart of Lorain County, attended, and so did 4 of his council people. It was a good evening. We did spend the whole hour and some there talking about different issues in the village, and they were glad that we came there. This past Thursday, I was invited to a roundtable discussion for the Boys and Girls Club of Lorain County. They have a new facility at the old Oakwood Shopping Center in South Lorain on Pearl, and just kind of gave us an idea of what their future plans are for that area and for that facility there. They serve like 800 meals a day for these young people, and they have like 20 locations throughout Lorain County, so they do a fabulous job, and if it weren't for them, a lot of these young people probably wouldn't graduate. There was like 50% of them said they don't even know if they would have lived through their childhood if it wasn't for the Boys and Girls Club. So I want to give kudos to those and thank them for inviting me. It was really a nice event. I think that's the end of my report.
Yeah, I apologize, I missed a lot of things this week. My mother had health issues back and forth between EMA and Cleveland Clinic, so hopefully she'll get out tomorrow.
Oh, good.
But we've been working on the budget, and we did get our revenue numbers, and been requests, Commissioner Williams requested stuff, Commissioner Kokoski, myself, different numbers, working with our budget director, Lisa Hobart. I'd like to thank the Budget Commission for coming up with a number for us, and it's looking like we're somewhere around immediate cuts, probably $2.1 million. Would that be a fair assessment? Okay, Lisa's shaking her head yes. We're meeting on next week on the 20th. I would like to know if the board would like to start some budget hearings with some of the departments. There are smaller ones we could start with before we get into the bulk of it. I know Commissioner Williams posting on his Facebook my mentioning of cutting the sheriff's department, but I just think it's going to have to be equitable all the way through. So, and I plan on meeting with everybody again. Like I said, spoke to Jody Barilla. Sheriff's committee's out of town till tomorrow. But we really have to start looking at how we're going to handle next year in light of the sales tax not passing. So if the board doesn't have a problem at next week's board meeting, can we schedule the treasurer, the recorder, the clerk of courts, and the prosecutor to see where we're at? The judges have already ordered their budgets, so there's not much in the hearing process there unless we come to some help from what they requested. And then we would have, after that, Dr. Evans also, he's asked for a small increase. I don't have the number in front of me.
17,000.
Thank you. Yeah, his isn't much, so I mean, we can't cut the corner at all. I
No.
can't see that. So we could honor his request would be my, recommendation. But then we need to get into the clerk of courts, also the prosecutor's budget, because he asked for an increase. And again, looking at the sheriff and the jail, if there's any attrition for next year. But going to be a difficult year, and we have been working on a lot of numbers. I'd like to thank Lisa Hobart for all her work. But if we could do that, I'd appreciate it from the board if we could start getting those scheduled for next week.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that.
Yep.
That
me
don't
too.
happen often.
I do have a concern. I asked Lisa, we had about in other revenue, we were down about $900-some thousand from 2008, and I wanted kind of a breakdown of where the other revenue came from and where it was lacking. And I was concerned, there was $200,000 for fines for the clerk of courts.
That could possibly be a timing issue as well.
A timing issue possibly,
Depends on
okay.
when the municipalities send those funds in.
Because normally they give us money back at the end of the year, or is it from
That's
title or is it from?
Title. When Lorain,
Yeah.
Lisa and I spoke with Ron Yardain. It's looking like we'll be able to get $300,000 from title to which we added to our revenue numbers for next year. We
Which is
spoke to
already
them
included? Okay, all right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we probably should have the budget hearing, just for those kind of issues, because we need to figure out what we're gonna do with the loss of revenue, so.
That's basically my report, unless we got dialogue back and forth on budget issues. That's
Well, we
fine.
could talk, let's go into
Whatever.
that first. I know I was looking at about 3.1 million.
Right, we
And,
actually turned it down in the revenue forecast. We've been scraping everything.
Right.
Spent a lot of time the past week emailing back and forth, and I got slowed down here thinking my computer crashed.
So,
Well, believe it or not, sales tax is like really coming in strong,
Correct.
stronger than back
Yeah.
in even 2008, so it's good news for us. And
It
then the
is.
casino revenue, thank God for that.
But how about the local government?
Well, the local
costs?
government is
And
killing us.
investment
And
income, of course. Right, yeah.
investments are the worst hit
We're
to
still-
our budget.
We're still $12 million off
Oh,
what we
yeah.
were in '08, so.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I just wanted, the coroner, obviously, we heard it and read in the newspapers, the
Yeah.
issue that the coroner is going through. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to get for those who just saw me looked at my phone, I'm supposed to actually go over to court to be a witness. And I'm waiting for the prosecutor to call me. But going back to the budget, we know with the coroner, there's
Right.
not much we
Yeah.
can do there. The 17,000 that he's asking for, I know it's not his preference, but we may want to have dialogue with him. If we move him into a county building that we already own and pay the utilities for, that's about $17,000 there. So it's a way to give him his increase without actually increasing the budget. The sheriff, I'm going to stand strong on this one here. I don't think that we can afford to go through and to cut the sheriff's budget. When you take a look at the cuts that were made to his budget in previous years, it wasn't, basically balanced to the, comparable to the other departments that got cuts.
It was less.
It
was less.
Well, previous,
was
they had
less.
30, they had 30 deputies at one time. They're now at 23. They still haven't recovered. Since 2011, right, you're right, they are less. He is returning $173,000
I took that
from
into
his
account.
budget. So I think
Maybe
we
through
need to
some
be,
attritioning, Tom, we've got to do something in regards to that number, because we've also backfilled him a lot on taking the records and the dispatch into 911 and
Right.
putting those dollars on the 911 levy by the combining those two. So, I mean,
yeah.
we've
I
got to
did-
look at something. It's 2.1 million.
2.1 million, and I sent an email out to the Tim Luby for the common plea judges, basically asking them to take a look at their budget and not ask for the additional money that they put in for that request earlier this year, because it's going to cut other departments. It's going to have impacts really on about 6 departments, and in my view, if I don't go after the coroner or the sheriff doing any reductions there, that's going to slow the services down in other areas. Domestic relations is also asking for a hefty increase. Right now, I think domestic relations need to come back and live within the budget that this county has as well. It's nice to go through and have these different grants that help individuals, but when we don't have the revenue in order to support it, and when we're looking at making possible cuts to what is, to me, the most important government official, and that's the sheriff, because he protects the individuals of this county. And it goes into the entire county. It's not just townships, but he's going into the cities to offer help. And I think it's vital that we make sure that he has the services, so if somebody needs to make a call, they know somebody's going to respond. And for the judges to continue to order more budget, more money, and this time, when the people have spoken multiple times that they do not want to see an increase, and they ask for additional money, is irresponsible. And I'm going to ask the judges by November 20th, next Wednesday, to remove that request, that order for your 2014 budget and come back. You are an elected official. You are part of Lorain County, and you need to help us live within the budget that the people of Lorain County expect and demand us to live within. And to go above and beyond that is just bad government. And I hope one day when we have judge races, people will start to ask the judges not where they stand on legal issues or their views on cases, but also how they're going to run a department. When you consider that law enforcement, everything in the Justice Center takes up 70% of our county's general fund budget, we need to have elected officials who are going to work with us and make sure that all services are provided to the county. And like I said, I put an email to the judges asking them to go back to the 2013 budget numbers. I would ask that the board, as a board, we send a letter to domestic and common pleas asking them to do so.
Well, that's going to be my discussion points. I just don't tend to do it out here on a microphone. I tend to talk to people and try and come to some type of compromise.
Yeah.
Sending a letter is wonderful, but I don't know if that'll get any results.
I think it's important for the individuals to know where the money's being spent as well, too. And that
Well,
these
it's
orders
there.
are going
The
through.
budget's there.
It
It's-
is,
It's
but
real simple. The
People
numbers are
looking
there
at
on the
it,
request.
you know, when we have that chart on there from 2008 to 2012 on our website, but people really don't understand when you have 3 prosecutors lines, you have multiple things for the domestic relations and the judges. So it can be a little tricky to figure it out when you're looking on a spreadsheet.
Or maybe you can get somewhere with Mr. Lubion, and I'll see if I can get somewhere with domestic relations.
Okay. And any other discussion on that before I go into my report?
No, go ahead, do your report. That's
okay.
fine. I wanted to bring up the budget stuff now because I want to get started next week, because with the Thanksgiving holiday, we start running later into the year.
Right.
Only a couple meetings, and Christmas and New Year's both fall on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whatever that day of the week is. So it kind of screws up, and we need to get at least a temporary budget approved for the first quarter of next year to meet all the contractual services.
Did we decide we're gonna meet on Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving?
We haven't decided yet. Let's see where we get with the budget meetings and our discussions.
Okay. Well, on Friday, I went to NOACA, and I want to thank the Lorain County representatives that stood with me. ODOT's actually had a plan to basically take all the money from the different organizations like NOACA and do a priority list on which projects were more important. I wanted to table the issue because I believe that ODOT does have a fair plan. I think it's going to benefit the state. We know infrastructure throughout the state needs to be improved on. And the thing that was holding, I think, the majority of the board there that day up was there were projects that were started for RTA as far as building bus stations. And they were worried that those projects would not be maintained or make it through the qualifying round. Talking with ODOT, there's projects that they would like to do here in Lorain County. Actually, I'll be meeting with one of the regional managers on the 20th after our board meeting to discuss some traffic flow routes for future projects. But I just want to thank the Lorain County officials, Medina officials, who stood up and made their voice heard that we should have gave ODOT more time. We shouldn't have passed a resolution telling them that they're against everything when there's only a couple issues, a couple minor issues that they were opposing, at least at the meeting on Friday. On Sunday, I represented the board. I don't believe you made it to Mr. Delaporte's memorial. A lot of individuals. If you don't know Arnie Delaporte, great individual. Had the means to live anywhere that he wanted to. Came to this country, made the American dream, raised his family, successful sons, wonderful wife, and he passed, unfortunately, on October 30th. And Arnie was definitely a mentor to me. Talked about the good about Lorain County, wanted to promote it more, wanted to try to bring international businesses here, and Lorain County lost a wonderful man. And then on Monday, I attended the Amherst Veterans Memorial over by former or Judge Janig's old building, and just a wonderful program. A lot of veterans out there, and I just want to say thank you for everything you've done, and thank John and Mike for the wonderful event that they put on. And Lori, you talked about the Mayor Hunter in our meeting. One thing that he brought up was abandoned railroad tracks. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were aware of it.
Oh, been years.
So he would like us to accept the abandoned tracks. I haven't looked into the issue.
Right, we can pull out all of the paperwork in regards to the abandoned tracks. There's an issue back there
Okay.
that has to be addressed. Yeah, he's been asking for years.
All right.
And the prior mayor did also, but there's an issue with the way the tracks run in connections and stopping any other movement of products. So it's probably.
Okay,
to
so they're
remove the
not
tracks-
truly abandoned then?
Well, they're not using them currently. The railroad would like to get rid of them so they never have to have a responsibility again.
Okay.
It's a long story, but I'm sure the paperwork can be dug out. Teresa, do you have any of that from the railroad tracks in Sheffield Village?
I don't believe we
Nothing?
have anything on
No.
that.
Okay, then it's an old paperwork. 'Cause mine's probably sitting over at the Records Center.
Well, I asked Mayor Hunter to
Mhm.
actually bring that paperwork to us. He was saying that they're not used at all.
No,
and
not
that
now
there's-
currently.
Well, the one railroad actually stops because they put Route 2
Correct.
where the railroad used to go, so
Right.
they can never use that portion of the railroad.
Right. But that's not the portion that they want to remove, if I remember correctly on the maps, going into the back of the industrial park, basically. So
Okay.
it
Well, I
was a
told
long,
him that-
drawn-out issue.
Well, you asked him to have their council pass a resolution that they want us to do that before we even go any farther.
Right,
so.
I want to make sure that they're on board with it, but I also asked him to take a look into it and give us a summary of all the potential issues, since he's been working with the railroad company. So, I just wanted to make sure you
Oh,
were
yeah.
up to date on that.
Yep. Well, I don't know about up to date, but it was long drawn out in the past, so I would have to dig out all the old information.
All right, that's the end of my report.
You already mentioned tonight you'll be at your last town hall meeting in Overland. The 19th at 9:30 is a commissioners meeting along with Straw Hag Ditch hearing. And then Wednesday we'll meet at the 20th at 9:30. Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anyone wishing to address the board this morning? A motion on executive session as outlined by the county prosecutor.
Second?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.